Can I
So
say something?
yeah. Go ahead, Queen. Go ahead.
Hi, Noble. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to first start off and say thank you for having me up here. And as far as like this whole conversation really kind of hits home for me because for one, I have a son, and I'm not married, and me and the child's father are not together, but his father is actively in his life. I'm only 22 years old, so I'm very young, and I was raised in the projects, and I'm from Florida, and his dad is from Atlanta, and we both have the same kind of lifestyle. We was raised the same. We come from poverty, so this conversation really does hit home. And I could tell you from being raised up in poverty and seeing certain things, your experiences and your environment definitely does make you who you are. So without those experiences, I wouldn't be the young lady that I am today. So I just first and foremost want to say that when you're seeing certain things as you grow up, it really molds your mind. Like it molds your mind into a way to where you literally, all your experiences come from what you go through. So me seeing certain things, seeing violence, seeing people die in front of me, being homeless, going through all these tragedies, it really did cause me to become who I am today. So I just say that to say, like, contributions don't have to be necessarily like money or these things when people say like I'm not going to be responsible for other people's actions. Contributions can come in all kinds of ways. Like if my father would have been present, I probably would have never went through most of those experiences because I would have had an active father in my life to show me a different way. My father was incarcerated majority of my life. My mother was a city girl making millions of dollars on the road with rappers. Ain't had no time for me. So I was being raised up by church, by school, by my aunties and uncles and whatever way they could, and I just assimilated my knowledge by all the things that I saw. So while kids was outside playing around and getting into trouble, I was in my room reading my books and writing poetry and stuff, trying to figure out, okay, everything that's around me don't seem to be the way that people should live. And then when I got in high school, I went to an all YT school, and I saw the way this other community was living. I'm like, what's wrong with my community, and why are we living like this? So it really just, I had an identity crisis. Then once I moved to Atlanta, I realized like you guys are saying, if you're not responsible for your actions, then there's going to be consequences for them. So I take full accountability for, the actions I've caused as me being an adult today. But growing up as a child, it really does contribute to how you are as an adult. So because my parents didn't instill those values in me like they were supposed to, because we were financially unstable, going house to house, because I wasn't eating properly and I wasn't doing all those things that my other counterparts, my Asian associates, my white tea associates, my Hispanic associates were doing, it definitely does play a role in how I am today with the things that we've been through as a community, as a collective. So again, contributions don't have to literally be financially, like an uncle giving me money or my dad giving me money. But if he would have just been present, that would have been enough. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when we talk about these conversations, we have to literally put it into perspective that everybody doesn't have the same life. I have a lot of black associates because, like I said, I'm living in Atlanta now. So this is like literally black wealth up here. So a lot of my associates are well off, and I have conversations with them, and they're literally so disconnected. I'm like, you must have never really been in the hood. You must have never really drove in the hood and seen how we living. Literally, if you go in every community, the Asians own their community. The YT people own their community. The Hispanics, I live in Atlanta, I live in Cobb County. The Hispanics, they own their own community. You go to our community, the Vietnamese people own the nail shop. The YT people own the schools. The Asian people own the restaurants. The Arabics own the gas stations. We don't even own things in our own community. People come to our community and buy out our community and gentrify our community. So it's literally like no step and no hand in our community at all. And when you look at the lack of resources, the public schools, I'm a preschool teacher. I just paid 20K. Well, I'm 20K in debt because I just put my son in the academy so that he can get the best education. I don't know how I'm gonna pay these people back, but I'm gonna find a way. But I'm a preschool teacher at my son's school. And when I tell you, like, the people out here in this community I live in, they literally invest into their community. We can't even invest into our own community because we don't have no freaking money. We don't have no freaking resources. So it's just like, yeah, it's a lot to say, like, we could talk about exceptional NEGROS is like Beyonce or LeBron James. Those are exceptional people, but that's not everybody's experience. And we're literally talking about 500 years of mass destruction of mass, literally our DNA, our chromosomes, our whole makeup being destroyed of our people, our togetherness, our community, and then saying, okay, these people are going to be free now. We're going to let them go. And these people don't even know who they are as people. If you don't know who you are, you're not going to know where you're going. So it's just like, I say that to say, like, it's a lot that we can be doing as brothers and sisters in our community. Again, it's not your job to raise somebody else's child. It's not your job to marry that single mother or make her your one and only, because these girls out here, you know what I'm saying, which y'all say, opening their legs up. But it definitely needs to be a call to action when people are on podcasts, you know, making these misogynist rhetorics, and they're not even doing anything about it. They're just saying that to add to the misogyny and blame. Because literally, I'm not trying to be funny, but you don't hear no man of no other community up here bashing their women and saying, oh, it's the woman's fault why they're not doing well. It's the woman's fault why we not doing well. 70% of single moms raised incarcerated Black men. That's literally, come on now. Like, we know it's a whole bigger picture to that. When the crack versus cocaine epidemic happened, Black men were literally getting imprisoned for literally 25, 50 years. Those cases are closed. That was literally government funded incarceration act. So those men are still in prison today. They're never coming home. So it's just like, it's a whole situation. It's a whole entire like pyramid of how our community has been destroyed. And like I said, I live in Atlanta, so I see the Black wealth. I was literally staying 8 minutes away from Rick Ross' house every day on the way to work, passing this man's house. I'm seeing Black men and women who are having the things they say we don't have. So I know it ain't true what they saying, but it's just like, that's not the case scenario for everybody. And like I said, I'm a teacher, a preschool teacher at my son's school, and I've been teaching for over 5 years. I started teaching when I was 18 years old. And I've been volunteering in my community since I was 12. So before I even moved to Atlanta, I was volunteering as a kid, volunteering and making contributions to my community, because I've been knew as a kid that something was wrong. Like, this is crazy. But at the end of the day, it is our duty, because even if you didn't have that child and you say you marry outside your community, you make the money that you want to make, even if you escape all of the things that they say against all these stereotypes that come up against Black men and Black women, you still are going to be a Negro at the end of the day. You can't escape that at the end of the day. A lot of us do have these self-hate and these within us. And it's not like it's just like, it's broad. A lot of these are minor things that begin to show that we really do not love our community. Because if you loved your community, you would want to build your community up the way you're supposed to. It is not your duty to have to give like paper dollars. No one's saying that. But you can, for example, if I seen Black store owners growing up, then that could inspire me to, oh, we not just playing basketball, we not just playing baseball, we not just rapping, we owning stores, we doing other things in the community that they say we're not doing, or a Black doctor or a Black lawyer, things that they're saying that we can't be. So it's definitely way more to the story. And like I said, I was raised in poverty and I was raised in the streets, so I know it's way more to it than what people are saying on these podcasts about these Pookies and Ray Rays. These men are disturbed. These boys who grow up into men are disturbed, violently seeing these things. Imagine having to carry a concealed weapon to school every day with you, or not even going to school. You can't even go to school because you hungry. Your mama ain't got no food. And I don't want people to think, because a lot of people be saying, oh, y'all get Section 8, y'all get EBT. For one, government assistance is nowhere near enough to literally raise children and take care of children. EBT, food stamps, is not enough to take care of no child. That child needs education. That child needs mentorship. That child needs to be learning. That child needs to be having a good diet. Oodles and Vienna sausages ain't gonna cut it. Like, people don't really know about the projects and know about that stuff. People just be speaking on things that they hear and that they see from other people. But in the streets and in the poverty, that's a whole jungle out there. Those people are living savagely. And no, it's not every Black man's fault why people in the hood are suffering. That's not the case. But if you are a Black man and you're well off and you're doing your due diligence as a Black man to bring yourself up, you're gonna want to see your counterparts and other Black men doing the same exact thing. So it's just like, that's what I really have to say on that. And again, like, there are I don't know if people, that's another thing I want to say too. I don't know if people are just on the internet and not going outside and touching grass, but there are plenty good examples of loving Black families and Black women who love Black men and Black men who love Black women. People live on the internet too much and are not literally going out in the real world, because I've never had a man ask me, what do I bring to the table? I've literally dated basketball players and lawyers and different things of that nature, and I ain't never had no man ask me, what do I bring to the table? That's not what people really say and do in real life. This stuff is just internet bias and internet talking points to keep gender wars going on. And people really be feeding into this, because in the real world, people are not asking how high is your body count. No one's asking that. Nobody care, like, literally. And I've been with my child's father since I was 15 years old. He's the only man I've dated, like, exclusively. Like, we were in a exclusive relationship. But as far as like people, these gender wars and the misogyny, in real life, men are not asking no woman how high is her body count. Don't nobody have time for that. People have bills. People have real life things going on. The only people you see on the internet arguing about these things are incels, men who do not get play from women, and men who do not have any kind of charisma. But real men who are either, even Pookies and Ray Rays are getting vagina because that's how they got all these damn babies. So even broke men are getting play. So you telling me exceptional man with money can't get play? No, that's not true. That's just these talking points on the internet. So people need to get off the internet and go out and touch grass, go out and meet people, because in real life, men and women are getting along just fine. There's no issue. It's just these young people on here are being misguided and misled by these gender wars and by these other propaganda that goes on the internet. But in real life, people screwing and doing and living their life. Ain't no problem with black men and black women's relationships. Like, I literally grew up in the violence and in the poverty, and black men and black women are getting along just fine. Literally. I don't know where all this is coming from, but I guess, I don't know, with the new age that we're in, I don't know, but it's literally not that deep as far as us going against each other and me telling you that you as a black man ain't contributing, and you telling a black woman she ain't enough. Like, that's something that they want us to feed into so our community can stay the way it's going. And that's crazy, because you will never hear no other people on no podcast, no other groups for real doing it as much as we do it. I'm not saying they don't do it at all. They do be having their own things going on, but to the default that we're doing it at, it needs to stop. It needs to really stop, because all that's doing is causing more confusion between us and making people think that we can't even get along. They looking at us like, y'all can't even get along with y'all own in y'all community, and y'all want to be the upstanding leaders in the community. We don't take y'all serious at all. But again, that's what I wanted to say about that. I definitely do think it's a lot of confusion going on, and maybe if people do take their time out to visit these other communities, they will see, because like I said, I have associates who are well off, who have a lot of money, and like Chad said earlier, the middle class and higher up black people do have this superior complex. I went to a school that Outkast used to go to, and when I tell you, black folks pulling up in Benz trucks and G-Wagons and Audis and all of this different stuff, 2 cars in the driveway, 2-parent households, wearing Balenciagas, everything paid for, college paid for. And when I tell you the way that they talk about the lifestyle that I come from, the way that they put down the people that where I was raised, the way that they talk about Chicago and Philly, like them people don't have no, like, we not really humans. It wasn't my fault that I was raised that way, and they got so much smoke for the hood, but y'all want to come from the hood, and y'all want to be like the people in the hood. Y'all want to listen to the music and glorify it. But when it comes to real life conversations, people want to talk about Pookies and Ray Rays. And the Pookies and Ray Rays is the people y'all listen to on the internet. The NBA young boys and the NLE choppers. Y'all listen to them all day long, but when it's time to have a real conversation about it, y'all don't want to speak on what's really going on. These are real people. We're not less than because we don't come from money, or we don't come from this and that and the third. And a lot of my associates, I have argued with them in the past about the middle class, because I had a homegirl, and she's out here from Cobb County, Marietta. Her dad has his own house. He's a construction worker, and he taught at the same high school as us. And she would always make these little statements about the hood, and I'm just like, it's not like what you think. Like, y'all talking about us like we're animals, and it's just like, y'all don't know the full story. We have to live like we are human beings. We're not less than because we didn't grow up with a silver spoon. But like I said, everything that I went through and everything that I am made me the woman I am today. And a lot of people couldn't even survive 10 feet in my shoes if I told you my whole life story. She comes from a middle-class family, and her dad bought her entire life. So and that's good for him. That's good for her. But it's like, she still got the same problems I got. She still, dealing with Pookies and Ray Rays. So, I mean, even if people from middle class and higher up levels is still subjected to the bull crap. You're not gonna withstand life's problems just because you grew up with a rich family. That's not how that works. Whether you're rich or poor, you're still gonna have problems. So people need to stop talking about the hood and talk about poverty as if that's the whole standing point of why people grow up to be insane individuals. Because look at all these mass shootings. These YT kids come from good homes, and they still are mentally disturbed. So what's the excuse? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, people need to really try to take a time to at least be emotionally intelligent and try to understand people, rather than seek to understand rather than to be understood, is what I'm trying to say. Because if people really knew what was going on in a hood, people wouldn't even be displaying these subjects, because it's not a game out there. Like, I literally slept outside multiple nights. My mama is somewhere high in the club, shaking her behind, and me and my sister outside on the street. I had to literally drop out of school at 15 and get my finish high school. I paid my way through high school. I was working 60 hours a week to take care of me and my little sister. Now my sister's making 6 figures, and I'm making half of that as a school teacher. So it's just like I made a way for myself. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I still have a lot of cousins and people in the hood who didn't have who didn't take it serious enough, and who subjected themselves to certain things, and now they're still living, you know, a certain way. But at the end of the day, another problem is too this environment that we live in, this capitalistic country, has a lot of loopholes, but it's still a lot of things that go into it, because I still be house broke and car broke from paying bills all day. So it's just like, before I even had a baby, I still was house broke and car broke from paying bills. So it's a lot to it, and there's no blueprint to being an adult. You know, it's hard on everybody. Everybody has
Okay,
it
Queen.
hard.
Okay, first, hold on, Clyde. First, thank you for all your thank you for all your contributions, all the you know, all the stuff that you've actively done and are actively doing in the community for young black boys and black girls. I appreciate you. You know, you're someone that I respect and that I can have a conversation with. But at the end of the day, someone in the comments said that someone in the comments said your story is exactly what Noble was saying. Your story is exactly what I'm saying. Before I even get into that real quick, I too, you know, when you talk about the whole black man and black woman thing, I too have said that, you know, a lot of these conversations that be going on, they do only exist on the internet, because the numbers show us that of black men and black women that are getting married, the small percentage of them, they're getting married to each other. Black men and black women are procreating with each other, they're dating with each other, they don't have any problem. But that's not even the topic of this live.
Right.
Everything that you said, you proved my exact point. um at the end of the day, you know, you talked about how, you know, one thing you said is that at the end of the day, whether someone came up in poverty or whether someone came up in, whether a person came up in the middle class, they're still going to be seen as a negro at the end of the day. So if we're still going to be subjected to the same thing, whether whatever circumstances that we come from, at the end of the day, um, Noble made a decision, and Queen made a decision, and Johnny made a decision, and Chad made a decision. And other people chose not. Other people in our community chose to not make the same decisions that we made. So we decided to go right, and they decided to go left. At the end of the day, everyone has it within their willpower to make certain choices, to take advantage of certain
But no, that's
opportunities.
not true, Noble,
That, but
because
that is true,
that's not
Queen.
true. But let me
Queen,
tell
Queen,
you why
Queen. You
though.
just said, one second. You just said how you got out of, you stopped school, and you were working X amount of hours a week, so you could pay your way through school and this, that, and the third. You made a decision to do that. You did not allow your circumstances. You did not use that as an excuse to do the complete opposite. So that, again, that goes to what I'm saying when I say that there are a lot of people that try to like use their circumstances as an excuse to do wrong or not want better for themselves, and there are people that use it to fuel them and rise above it. you
But
chose
but
you
but the
chose
thing
to
is,
use one second,
imagine,
one
look.
second, one second. You and other people chose to use it as fuel and to rise above it. Noble chose to use it as fuel and to rise above it. At the end of the day, the only way a human being is going to change their circumstances is by doing things to get different outcomes so they can change their circumstances. You cannot use your environment and use your circumstances as an excuse to like not want better or to do wrong. You cannot do that.
But this is what I'm saying though, Noble. I think you're not taking into account all the factors that play into it. Like I said, you're gonna be able to consider me an exceptional NEGRO, but we can't speak for the rest of the kids in the hood who live in check to check, who don't got food in their mouth, who's witnessing the violence, who's witnessing their moms being beat with their head in. You cannot speak for the rest of them, because a lot of them, you don't know how trauma triggers people. At the end of the day, imagine, like I said, for example, I have a homegirl, um, and from school, she had got pregnant when we were in high school. We were 14 years old in the ninth grade, and she got pregnant. So imagine like I just had a baby recently, and when I tell you the type of pain that is, man, that junk is ridiculous. Like she was a child, you know what I'm saying? So imagine that, a child raising a child. You have to look at the whole entire community. When them white T kids get caught with marijuana in school, their parents got lawyers to pay them off. When them Asian kids get into something with some a girl or something like that, and they get accused of this and that and the third, their parents got money to pay their lawyer. Their parents are friends with the judges. When black boys do something minor, they're getting the school to prison pipelines is handling them. The police killing them and shooting them down. The police don't even come in the hood. If they do, they're killing niggas. That's what. Well, excuse my French. They killing folks. So it's just like you got to take that into account. When black boys in college and they get caught with some marijuana, they're going to jail. They're not going to no rehabilitation center if they get hooked on some drugs. They're going slap to prison into jail. So the thing is, when it comes to this, to a person, quote unquote, pulling themselves up by the bootstrap, you got to look at what playing to their favor. Them YT kids and them Asian kids and them Hispanic kids doing the same thing our kids doing. They getting into gun violence. They getting pregnant young. I'm looking at it. I literally live around nothing but Hispanics and Latinos. They're getting pregnant at 14 and 15 years old. I teach middle school. I teach high school. These kids are doing the same thing. The only difference between them and our kids is they have resources and we don't. So that's what you have to take into account when we have these conversations. Everybody is, like you said, ain't gonna make it. People gonna fall short. Somebody gonna work at McDonald's. Somebody gonna work at Chick-fil-A. Somebody gonna be the garbage can man in the measly burger flipper or whatever you want to call it. But those are still human beings who deserve to be respected and loved. But at the end of the day, their parents and they folks got resources and ours don't, which was where we get topsy-turvy at when we have these conversations. Because if you look at how we're treated, they can't lynch us no more legally. Even though they still be doing what they do. If you look at these articles that would be keeping in tune with these articles that be going on, they still doing a lot of illegal stuff. But legally, they can't lynch us, so they had to find another way. They have to convert it. People are getting literally the most craziest sentences for the most pettiest crimes. Like literally, look up these stories if you want to pay attention to the community. A 6-year-old boy from Illinois is literally they're locking up our children. 5-year-old throwing a tantrum, getting locked up. Our kids, like it's not the same for us.
Okay, so Queen, my final question to you is so okay, let's and this can be applied to both circumstances. This is my final question to you.
Hey, Noble, let me get it after you.
Yeah, Clyde,
wait. Can I say something real fast and then I'm gonna hop off because I do actually have to go somewhere.
Yeah, go ahead, Johnny. Go ahead.
Okay, so my little sister, she's 20. She just turned 20 years old. She had a baby at 19, and I have a little nephew living with me. He's in my room right now. His daddy, Chad, I know how you feel about the Pookies and Ray Ray name, but I'm gonna use it anyway. His daddy is a Pookie. His daddy ain't shit. Forget my language. His daddy ain't shit. He don't do nothing for my little nephew. And he has 2 other baby mamas. Best believe me and my sister have had this conversation. I'm like, okay, why would you have a baby with a man that has 2 other babies who don't take care of them? And we've held my sister accountable to all ends of the stick. Best believe it. But that my little nephew is here now. He's here. And God forbid, I do not want him to grow up to be like his father by all means. So I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that he does not. He's one of the greatest black men to walk this earth. Even if he wants to work at McDonald's and be a cashier, he gonna be the best damn black cashier at the fucking McDonald's establishment. He's going to be a good black man, and I'm going to make sure that he's like that. So I'm going to be an active role in his life. I have to. I don't want to see him fail. I don't want to see him stress my sister out, and I don't want my sister to be stressed out because she did not want to be like my mother. My mother had me at 19 too. So, and then she had my sister at 20. So that is why let's believe she made sure we had good people surrounding us. That's why I'm so adamant on Dr. Umar's message, because it does and that's exactly what they mean when they say it takes a village to raise a baby. It really does. And it took my little sister having a baby for me to actually understand that. So that's really all I wanted to get off my chest.
All right, thank you, Johnny. I appreciate you. You have a good day, bro.
No problem. Y'all have
Queen, my final question to you before I let Clyde speak is, so I want you to tell me, Queen, what is the difference between like we'll use me and then we'll use someone from another. What's the difference between a young black man that was born to a middle class family and grew up in, he went to public school. He went to school with other maybe middle class or like, impoverished kids, but he turned out one way. And the same kids that used to ride the same school bus as him, used to be in the same class as him, used to have to eat the same school lunch as him. What ultimately is the reason that one person ended up the way they did and the other person ended up the complete opposite? And the same thing for the impoverished kid. The same kid that just two kids. Both of them grew up not knowing what they were gonna when their next meal was gonna be. But one of them turned out he ended up being some lawyer, and the other one was a failed kingpin, and he got 5 baby mamas, and he's somewhere in the slammer right now. What all in those two situations, what ultimately is the main reason that the other two people ended up the way they did and the other two people ended up the complete opposite despite them having being in the same circumstances and having the same opportunities?
Well, the difference is circumstance, perspective, and drive. It, like I said, age does play a role in this, because I know you keep saying like you're not responsible like for adults, but let's look at children. Like that's really what he was saying in the video. He was saying raising up the children, and like again, not financial contributions. You don't have to come out your pocket at all. I mean, time is money if you look at it that way, because you can't get your time back. But I mean, time is very valuable. So you have to look at children. As a child, yeah, you may be smart, you may be intelligent, but you don't have the gift of discernment all the time. We make mistakes all the time as adults. So children are going to make those. Children are going to be SEXing as well. Let's take that into account. So let's look at the
But
full
Queen, but
spectrum.
before you go on, I just want you to what if you in a nutshell, what is the reason that the two of those people ended up one way and two other people ended up the complete opposite despite them being in the same circumstances and having access to the same resources? What is the main reason?
I
I'm
think I can
telling you the
answer this
reason.
better.
The reason is like literally drive and circumstance. You
No,
take a left
drive.
turn.
You just said
You
it. It's
take a left
drive at the
turn.
end of the day.
No,
It's
no, no,
drive
for
at
real.
the end
No,
of the day.
hold on though. Hold on though. If you, as a young man, you grew up in poverty. Say two kids grew up in poverty. Let's just use that. Two black boys grew up in poverty, and one become a lawyer, and one he end up in a pen. That one who became a lawyer was literally one step from doing that. He had to literally go above and beyond. And that's not to say that he didn't make no mistakes along the way. He just ended up making it. But what I'm saying is ultimately drive. What drives you? What may have drove boy A may not have drove boy B. We don't know if the things that affected boy B, if he didn't heal from those things, that he didn't learn correctly and unlearn and relearn the things that he learned in the hood, and learn that this is not how people should really think. Because let's not act like people in the hood are just dumb. Being Poverty has nothing to do with intelligence. I'm poor because I don't have money. That doesn't mean I'm not educated or driven. That's the only difference between me and you is money. That's it. So when those kids are given those tools and they're given those resources, you see what they become to be. Because let's be real, a lot of the boys who are the basketball players and rappers did come from the hood and have became something great. So them single mothers that raised them did help them the best way they could. So it's just like, again, the thing that separates them is drive. What may have driven you to
So you're
keep going.
speaking to my point, Queen.
But I'm saying these are children, though.
Two
These are
young men,
children,
two
Noble. These
young
are
men
children.
made a decision. Two young men made a decision to go one way, and again, like I said earlier, the same kids that had the same opportunities as me and ended up the complete opposite. I could have made the same choices and decisions that they made, but I chose not to make those choices and
Well,
decisions.
but
No, but
I'm
I
So
can
you're
get.
saying
I
that's
think
not
I
you're
can give a
that's
better
not
you're
answer to
speaking
this.
you're speaking to my point at the end that you talk about drive. Again, it's about wanting better for yourself and doing the things that are required to want better
Noble.
and
How
get
can
different
children
and
want
Wait,
get
better for
better
Noble,
outcomes
Noble,
themselves?
Noble.
How
I
and
think
can
put
I can
yourself
children
answer
in
this
want
better
better
better.
for
Hold on,
themselves?
circumstances.
Noble. I think I can answer. I think I
It's
can answer.
simple at the end of the
Wait,
day.
hold
How
on,
can
Noble.
children
I
want
think I can
better?
answer this from personal experience.
LeBron James could have not became LeBron James.
I'm
That's
saying,
because
but
That's
of
not a good.
LeBron
No, no, no.
James.
You shouldn't have used your blind. That's
No,
how
no,
can
no, no,
LeBron
no,
is
children
six
want
Chad,
nine,
better,
two
Chad,
fifty.
Noble?
Chad. It's not
Also,
it's not
Chad.
about LeBron and nobody needs to go to the NBA. Nobody needs to be an NFL. Nobody needs to be Drake or NBA YoungBoy. It is a matter of what I'm saying
It's
is
not about LeBron, and
hold
nobody
on
needs
mute,
to be
Queen. You
go
got
to
some
the
background
NBA.
coming in.
Nobody needs to be an NFL. Nobody needs to be Drake or NBA YoungBoy. It is a matter of what I'm saying.
Queen,
It's
mute.
not
You
about
got your
LeBron,
background
and
coming in.
nobody goes to the NBA. Nobody needs to be an
Oh,
NFL.
sorry.
Nobody needs to be Drake or NBA.
No, but I think I can give a better example of what Queen is trying to say from
But
personal experience.
okay, but at the end of the day, Chad, at the end of the day, however you want to slice it, people made choices, and their choices dictated their outcomes, and obviously your outcomes is going to dictate your circumstances. So
Yeah,
there's
but
no you can't there's no defending or getting out of. We had the same opportunities, we came from the same circumstances, but we ended up the complete opposite.
hold on,
I made certain decisions, and the other person made different decisions.
I can
But
give
go
an
ahead,
ex,
and then Clyde gonna
I
speak.
can give an example from my high school that is probably a good example of if you go to the same high school and you have quote unquote the same opportunities. Me, I come from a good neighborhood. I have two parents, and one of them makes good enough money to where my mom don't even have to work. And then there's another kid who goes to my same high school who has the same opportunities, but he lives in North Philly. He has he's in a single parent household. His dad is in and out the pen. So you're gonna sit here and tell me just because we go to the same high school, and at this, and mind you, this kid now he is deceased. He's deceased. So you saying that okay, he has opportunity, but his environment and his circumstances made it so that he had other obstacles that made it so he was not able to quote unquote get out of those circumstances and achieve his dreams. Whereas me, I didn't have to deal with that same stuff. That's why you middle class and
I'm speaking on a completely
quote,
different point, Chad.
no, I'm not. It's a great example.
I'm speaking on people that you're talking about. You're comparing yourself to somebody that was in a different circumstance than you. I'm
But
saying
we
people
we
that are
went to
in
the
the
same
same
high school. Went to
circumstances.
the same high school, had the same opportunity. Same high school. And he has the same opportunity. But we're in different circumstances. That's the reason why I'm where I am and why he's deceased. You see what I'm
Okay,
saying?
okay. So okay. So, well, this can go back. What about the kid? What about the kid? What about the same kid that was in the same position as him and had a father that was in and out, and he didn't really have male guidance, but he ended up being like Noble or Chad. Then what?
Well, that's why I said it has to do with, how your upbringing and your value system.
Can I say something? Because I want to touch on something
Okay,
that I
say
think was
something, and
mentioned
then
earlier.
Clyde doesn't, and then Chad finished, and Clyde doesn't need to speak. I need to let these other
Wait,
people.
hold on,
That
no, but I
goes
gotta
into
drop. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be in the comments.
Okay.
that goes
Okay.
into contributions because why you may have like they both may be poor and like in and out literally same situation. If they have maybe somebody like Noble, say you are a mentor in the community, that could be one step of like an opportunity that somebody may not have missed on, because while that one boy who ended up incarcerated or dead and deceased, he may have not took his took certain things into account as a child, which children are going to do. The other person may have had somebody, because like again, my parents didn't raise me, but I had people in the community that I looked to, that guided me so that I could be doing what I'm doing now. I had some kind of like education to where church or wherever it came from, somebody was doing something to where kids are getting some food or something. So that's all I'm trying to say is like, if you're not gonna, like you said, if you're not gonna be a leader in the community, then it's no point of this conversation, because you're saying you don't even think like you should have to do any of that because it's not your job, and it isn't. But you should want to do that because it's going to help another child out. You talking to them every day, or you talking to them for 30 minutes may have saved that child from going to make a decision that can, change his whole life. So it's just like, it could be minor contributions, but we do need Black men in the community helping out diligently. There was a time where the men in the community that were doing that was the reason why our community was the way it was. It was so much togetherness. So those minor contributions do matter. That's really what I want to say.
Okay. Go ahead, Clyde. Go ahead.